Welcome to Friends Like Us. This was supposed to be a live stream. I am trying a new platform. It's called Riverside. The reason I'm trying it is because basically Hillary Clinton endorsed it.
There you go.
So there's the problem, right, Ted?
Hey, I mean, I only know what you told me, and I'll go on that.
Yeah. She endorsed it, but I'm sure she doesn't have Melissa.
Yeah, what am I
Can you mute? Yeah, that sound is like feeding in.
There's a sound? Oh, I don't hear you. Okay, sorry.
So during the recording, just so you know, any t-shirts, wrestling, or whatever, that feeds into the sound.
Okay,
So yeah, she endorsed it, but I'm sure she doesn't have any technical people. She's probably not doing the work herself. She has a team of people who can help her with this stuff. So I'm going to tell Riverside that they stink. They absolutely stink. They're going to get I want my money back. This streaming device right here, I want you all to know this, costs $39 a month.
Do you think that's what Hillary pays for it?
What?
Do you think that's what Hillary pays for it?
No, Hillary has the $1,000 a month plan.
The
That's
VIP,
the problem.
right.
Yeah, she has the plan. But I have to be honest. I was like, this is so expensive. It must be good. Let me try it. And one of the things that it does that's separate, like Zoom doesn't do, but actually Zoom does do, I found out, is they create separate tracks, audio files. So when you do a podcast, you want separate audio files. Zoom actually does do that. I found you just have to find it. Anyway, I want to thank you guys for doing. What is that sound in the background?
I think it's Hillary Clinton. Hillary?
She's tapping in. She's tapping in.
She's
She heard
undermining.
that.
Yeah.
It's probably Riverside. They're probably like, if you're going to trash us, we're going to disrupt your show. But I want to thank you all for joining me today. I know you guys got busy schedules, right? Right?
Yeah,
Sure.
Yeah.
kind of, sort of.
Ted, I have not seen you, and I have not spoken to you. I've spoken to everyone here except for you. So I want to know, and I kind of seen you on Instagram. You have not left your house. Am I right or am I wrong?
I haven't left this room, Marina. I've pretty much been in this room since March.
Oh, wow.
No, that's not true. We moved, actually. So there's been a lot of literal and figurative movement. Yeah, we got out of New York. My wife and I had lived, Madeline says hi, by the way. We lived in Astoria for, I've been there for close to 20 years, and she had been with me for the last several. And we had a baby boy last Christmas. So we had been kind of looking for a house, dreaming and all of that. And we found something. So we moved, like most New Yorkers.
We're going to Connecticut.
They said that over 300,000 New Yorkers moved. Wasn't that what we were talking about, Vaughn?
Yeah.
I didn't know they all went to Connecticut, though.
That's what everyone that I've been talking to has told me. Like, I had to talk to a plumber and just the real estate people, and everyone's like, is anyone left in New York? I'm like, there must be a few. I know most of the comedians have stayed. Yeah.
I think I might move to Texas.
Why would you do that?
I actually kind of like Texas. I mean, Austin, Texas, which is not really Texas, I guess. But it is a nice city.
I was looking into Texas, Houston area, but then it's
Houston's nice.
It's a comedy scene in Houston. It's Austin and then San Antonio. So it's a little triangle, you could drive through, 2 hours or so.
Right.
I believe the distance is. So yeah, I was looking into that, but we'll see.
Exactly. So.
Well, Ted, what have you why did you give up on us? Did you read James Altucher's article or?
I did, but please, let's not attribute it to that, and do not interpret it as giving up on you.
Okay.
If anything, I believe in you more than ever. It's just that, we need having a family, and we're expecting a second baby in April. So yeah, so it's just it's to everything. There is a season, and this is the season for having a little space. We were in a 2-bedroom apartment for a long time, so it just worked out. We were able to get a little more space. So that's where we are. But our heart is still there, and I'm sure whenever things get back to normal, you'll see me again back in the city.
Well, you have been like very smart with this COVID and everything, and you even taped a special right at the beginning.
Well, I've been very smart because I haven't gotten it, so that's the first thing that I've been smart about. But that's by virtue of mostly being home. But yeah, I did. I did a special. It was very accidental. I was doing, like a lot of people, I was doing Instagram stories at the beginning of the pandemic, just to kind of keep busy and to put out something. But as I was doing them night after night, 1 week turned into 2 weeks, into 3 weeks, I thought to myself, some of these have, because you can record them too. So I had the recordings. I said, some of these have like little bits that are actually kind of almost like things I would do on stage. So let me string these together. I worked with my editor, Matthew Weiss, and he's, directed all my specials. So we put those together and put out a special called Stay at Home Comedian. And the New York Times wound up writing about it. I mean, I've been doing comedy close to 30 years, and, they never reviewed any of my specials. But the one that I shot in my living room, that's the one that got the New York Times attention. So that was really cool and unexpected.
You pivoted.
I pivoted.
Which is the operative word for this 2020, right? Pivoting.
A lot of pivoting going on. Yeah, for sure. For sure. You have to, right? I mean, like, what choice do you have?
Now, on the opposite end, Melissa, I have not also seen you this whole time either. Sorry for forgetting that. But I miss you, Melissa. And you're one of my young stars. Like Ted, me, Shauna, Vaughn's still, yeah, she's a star.
Watch it there, watch it.
I just wanted to know, like, you're one of my young comedians, though. And I'm wondering the differences between the headliners during this time and a young comedian during this time. Like, how are you pivoting or coping with this as far as doing stand-up? Are you doing all these Zoom shows?
I don't know that. I think comics around around my level, I guess, are doing what I'm doing that I could find are similar to me. Kind of took two avenues. So some went just completely online, very much experimenting with anything they could find. A lot of people got on Twitch. A lot of people got on TikTok. I got on TikTok and actually had, I grew a following there, but then I was like, I think for me personally, there were a lot of things I was doing on the scene that didn't feel conducive to anything, right? So I kind of just decided to take this opportunity, everything shut down, to just kind of take a step back and look at what was working and what wasn't. That's just and I've been making pizza.
Yeah.
So that's pretty, it's been a delicious time.
That's
nice.
Yeah. I've just been making, I've been making weird shit. Stuff, sorry, to like.
You could curse on here. Ain't nobody watching, remember?
Oh yeah, okay. All right.
Our live
I always feel like I almost afraid.
Now that we're not on Riverside, anything goes.
Well, I've been making weird stuff too. I've been doing just kind of taking a step back, doing sort of more domestic stuff, and just kind of thinking about what I want to do when things kick back up again. And that's kind of it. Parsnip coffee. That's weird.
Ooh.
It's like a Depression era coffee shortage type of imitation coffee. I did that for fun, I could never have done that before the pandemic. There's too much going on.
Oh, nice.
Can I ask what your signature pizza has been? Like, what's your go-to?
Oh, go-to pizza? Well, I started making this focaccia bread that I really liked. Focaccia bread is basically Sicilian. It's basically like Sicilian dough. So I kind of converted that into kind of like a focaccia Sicilian slice. which, you know, just really basic. I make the sauce myself with like just tomatoes, garlic, anchovy, basil, and olive oil. And then I put some cheese on it. And I don't have an oven. I put it in a toaster oven, but it's pretty good.
Nice.
You guys want some?
Yes.
If you can deliver it,
Yeah.
on those like speed bikes,
Grubhub, yeah.
Yeah.
in the snow today.
You
Today?
need
Yeah,
gluten-free,
like I ride.
gluten-free.
Oh, Shauna, your volume still is kind of low.
Ah.
Yeah.
Go ahead, say what you're saying.
Do you have gluten-free pizza?
I've actually thought about that because of you, because I remember we talked one time about making, what was it, smoked coconut flakes instead of, what was that for?
Oh,
Like
yeah.
bacon instead of
Yeah,
bacon.
coconut bacon.
Right, which sounded really good, and I still kind of want to try to make it. But I actually made gluten-free hamburger buns. I tried that. I made it with almond flour, which I had no idea that worked that well.
Really good? Did
They were pretty good. I mean, they're a little denser than hamburger buns are. They're not going to be like as fluffy. There's no yeast, but I mean, you literally just grind up almonds and just put baking powder, and it's pretty good. Tastes like bread.
Nice.
Nice,
Thanks, Shauna.
Yeah, I'm very proud.
very. I know I sounded very sarcastic when I said that. Sorry, I do mean that. Now, okay. And then I'm going to get to Zawadi's article, because Zawadi, you've been on several times and you've wanted to talk about your COVID article.
Yeah, but I don't want to talk about it just to stuff it in. It needs to make sense.
Okay,
right
well,
now,
we're going to get to it. We're going to get to it because it's important.
no, I'm vibing off the comedian sort of roundtable that's going right now. So
I know I didn't want to leave you out, but she's like me. She's grown up with Godfrey. Do you guys want to ask her how she saw
what's that like?
Godfrey?
Wow, yeah.
What Shauna's
I
face?
survived Godfrey.
Shauna's face is hilarious. That's so funny.
Well, 'cause I automatically was like, "Did you have sex with him?" That's the first thing I thought, and then I was like, "Don't ask her that."
No, not at all. Not at all. Like, I was in a situation where I was like always with somebody. I was always booed up during college. Like, always had like a boyfriend. But Godfrey was like, I don't know. He was almost nondescript to me. He was just good looking. He was a good looking sort of nondescript dude that when he spoke, this is what he did when he spoke that I noticed. He was that type of dude that when he talked, he didn't look at you. He would like talk outward. Like he would be talking over here, but having a conversation with you. And so it was almost like he always saw himself on stage. And I recognize that because I grew up with a girlfriend that was so like always on. And she told me when we were kids that she felt like she was in a TV show and all the time. And so I was like, really? I looked at her like, that's strange. So she had the same sort of like affect where when she would talk.
I think that's a psychological condition.
Yeah.
I was like, you think you're in a TV show right now? She's like, yeah. She's like, I feel like, there's like TV's watching me right now. And we were kids when she said this, but they had the same sort of like performance type of always on stage thing. And Godfrey had that, I remember, in college. But really nice, affable, just nice guy.
Yes.
That's all I remember.
So this is my question I want to pose to all of you about and this is why I put this in here, this article about celebrities. There's a lot of lists right now of like best albums in 2020, comedy, stand-up, comics. Do you think that in 2020 we should be making lists?
Mine? I know mine is a new release, but is it on it? Because that's going to determine my opinion.
Well, that's my question.
Exactly.
Do you think that I personally, let me go to this article though before I mess up what I'm saying. And it's funny because I had said I don't like Jezebel, and then I put this article in here from Jezebel. That's really good. You don't read Jezebel either, Melissa?
I tried for a while. It's just kind of overwhelmingly too much.
It's
So
a lot.
This
This
is a
is-
little much.
But this is by Rich Jezwiak. The beginning of the pandemic marked a period of heightened public criticism of celebrities. The Imagine viral video from March, which featured wealthy celebrities singing during lockdown, was eviscerated online as clueless. And for the next few months, reporters predicted that the cult of celebrity was over. However, nearly a year into this pandemic, it seems that the public attachment to celebrities has only grown stronger. Celebrities have repeatedly flouted social distancing rules to little consequence, and public attention, celebrity news has only grown. Reporter Rich, this guy, Jezwiak, predicts that only an event deadlier than the pandemic will change our social structure. So I'll ask you, Ted, do you think that it's necessary to have lists of like top comics, and do you agree with this that celebrities, it's weird right now, isn't it? Like there's people struggling, I should say, and I just feel like celebrities could kind of still take a back seat.
Yeah, no, I agree with that, but I also share Vaughn's opinion because I made a couple of those lists, so I'm all for those particular lists. They had me on because I put out 2 specials this year. I put out the Stay-at-Home Comedian, which was unplanned, and then I put out Cut Up, which wound up being material that I was going to shoot but could not shoot because of the pandemic. So I just cut together existing. I had sets at the Cellar, Village Underground, one set out in Helium in Portland. So I cut those together and put that out as a special. So that made it onto one list.
Oh, okay.
And Stay-at-Home Comedian made it onto another list. So
great.
Of course, like that's what we aim for, is any kind of recognition that might get other people to see it. And, they're available. They're both on YouTube so people can watch them. But to your larger point, yeah, I mean, like that's the culture we live in, pandemic or not, is this constant barrage of celebrity. And I think it's also important to note that these are people with highly paid publicity machines behind them. They have PR, they have publicists. So it's not an accident that our eyes are finding them. It's because they're oftentimes paying money for social media companies to prop them up, to get them larger followers, if in fact they are real followers. So, whether it's social media or it's what we're consuming on the Entertainment Tonight type shows, it's because they're paying for positioning a lot of times, so yeah, it's absurd, and it's not real, but it is fun to consume at the same time. We all wind up looking at those things because you can't really escape them.
And I think if I could add to that, because my comedy is a comedy mixtape, it was born out of a very similar birth as Ted's. I was supposed to record my first comedy album in the summer. I was planning it around my birthday in June. Obviously, COVID said, sit down. That's not going to happen. So I started, and I was still writing while I was home. And I was starting to realize that a lot of the stuff that I wanted to do for my comedy album, things are changing. I'm changing. I may not even want to do this material anymore. I started listening. I record everything I do. I listened through every single recording, and I found some gems. And I was like, I'm not going to waste time or material because COVID said so. So that's how I came up with the comedy mixtape concept. And it has interludes, with different bits from different nights, different clubs. And I didn't make any lists, but it was just released this past Friday. So the reason I say we're biased, or I'm biased, and Ted may have agreed with that, is because we're putting out entertaining material for people to laugh. People need to laugh right now. We're comics. That's what we do. And if you're doing something in 2020, not only are you providing a giggle, but I think it's inspirational that you could go, okay, this happened, but I reinvented what I was going to do. That's inspirational for people. People need outlets. People need some type of something to hold on to. So I'm all for it. Now, when it comes to the celebrity aspect of it, that's the game, right? And like he said, there's publicists, that list of the best whomever is and always has been a popularity contest. When people go, oh, my favorite comedian top 5 are, if you look at them, it's usually the top 5 most popular, and they don't even know the rest of us. And that's no slight on the popular celebrity ones, but it's like that in music. It's like that with acting. It's like that with comics. That's part of the machine. And I think that if anybody decided to dip their toe in that part of the business, then they may have a different perspective on if that's good or bad.
I'm making my list.
Am I on it?
I am going to put up Marina's variety list.
I like that.
That's
idea.
what I've been waiting for. Yes.
And it's coming. It's coming soon.
I can't wait.
And the awards are going to be very strange, but I am making that list. It's going to be called
Checking it twice.
Yeah, checking it twice. But I do feel like on some level, and this is definitely a separate conversation, right? About the celebrities and why we let them kind of, I mean, the pandemic exposed sort of the privilege that celebrities have that other people don't have. And while we want to watch them and we need them and we need to consume entertainment while we're stuck at home, we also need them to understand their privilege. I mean, when you see like restaurants in LA, like that woman who was like, I can't open up my restaurant, but this film could do their shoot. You know, or, you know, like Dave Chappelle could have like a whole farm of people tested, but all of Ohio was having testing issues. You know, in this article, it says, with the vaccine, don't be surprised, however, when the rich and powerful, the segment of the population most visibly embodied by our stars, skip the line as if for a nightclub. And that's where I have an issue. That's where
why would that be? Why would that be any different, right? I mean, that's kind of the way society operates, the haves, the have-nots, like Vaughn said, across the board, entertainment or just access, right? VIP, like everything has a VIP element to it.
That's
and
right.
I don't think COVID will be any different as far as vaccines and access to healthcare and obviously all those types of things. But I think part of consumption of celebrity culture is making fun of it too, because there's always ample opportunity for that. And with, you know, like the Imagine video that they made earlier and all these kinds of things where it just kind of reveals how out of touch they are with the way people are living, you know, often, especially even our fellow comedians, like living paycheck to paycheck, if they're lucky enough to get a paycheck, you know, and not having healthcare, not having basic necessities. So some of these things where they're shooting themselves singing Imagine on a lush estate or whatever, it, you know, I mean, it's absurd, but it's also, that's part of the fun, is like making fun of it.
And if I could add this too, just finding the devil's advocate balance to it. You can look at, like you brought up the Dave Chappelle summer camp thing. Now, it looked like they were.
I would have gone. Don't get me wrong. I would have been on the first plane. No. Let me just finish this. I would have been on the I would have been on the first private plane out.
Thank you. So this is my point. When we're on the outside looking into something, we have a certain opinion that we may not have if we are. If we are a part of that privilege. So for me, as I aspire to grow in my comedy, grow in my wealth, as an individual person, I am absolutely looking forward to the day where I do have an earned privilege to some things that money can buy. But at the same time, my character will say, okay, how can I live the fruits of my labor and at the same time make sure I am extending some giving back? So when you bring up the Dave Chappelle part, that was one element to it. Like, hey, we would have been on the first flight. The second part to that is, yes, Ohio was having trouble testing, but what if we look at it through the lens like what everyone who came to that show outside of the comics, they were local residents. Dave Chappelle took care of a large portion of people, you know, within his community that came to his show and they got tested. Right. So you could look at it from that lens too. Like he's
not operating a health clinic.
He's not operating
a health clinic.
No,
he's putting on a show to shoot and everybody's wearing Chappelle masks. You know, it's like it's promotion.
It's promotion.
Glass half full. If you have to be tested to go to that show, sure, you're getting tested to go to that show, but you're also getting tested. So that's a good thing.
If you like comedy. So you're saying that Ohio people can only get tested if they like comedy shows?
No, Marina, you know damn well I'm not saying that.
I'm just saying that is absolutely what happened, though, because Ohio had the highest numbers.
If people handing out flyers. You guys like comedy? You like to get rapid? You guys like rapid tests?
Now, since we're on the subject of Corona,
no, Marina. I'm sorry. I'm not gonna let you flip my words, and then people want to drag me online, even though that's the name of my album.
There's no flipping. No one flipped your words.
Let me fully.
Well, I do want to. Okay.
Okay. Well, if I'm not going to be able to like that, because that's not fair. I'm absolutely.
I don't know. We're not disagreeing though. I'm just making a joke. I don't know why you think we're disagreeing.
Say the title of your album. Let me hear. Like, you got to say that.
It's Comedy Mixtape, Volume 1, funnyvon.com. Can I finish though?
Yes, but I do want to move on. But go ahead.
Okay, we can move on. But I'm not saying that. Oh, if you're in Ohio. The only way you should be able to get a test is if you're extended an invite to a Dave Chappelle show and he covers the bill. What I'm saying is the glass half full look at that is, yeah, our government is shitty and we should not be having trouble getting tested or none of that. But because Dave Chappelle is there doing what he's doing, he's also extending free testing out within that community of people. So that's a good thing.
Yeah, that's where I disagree.
That's a contribution that otherwise wouldn't be there.
Yeah, I don't agree with that. I get what you're saying. I think it's nice, and it just happens to be that those people get tested, and that's a great thing. But it's very self-serving.
It's a byproduct. Yeah, it's not the intent.
It's not the intent. It's the byproduct. I mean, I think people love entertainment, and I like the fact that he kept entertainment going. And yes, I would have been there on the plane, like I said. But at the same time, it's
she got up and left.
It's bonus.
That's one way to get the last word.
But I want to talk to Zawadi while we're talking about this and about your article, which is, hold on, let me pull this up. Oh, Zawadi, I've been trying.
But yes, Marina, it doesn't. I don't know. Does it really fit right now? It's like we're curious. And my article is. It's not an article, by the way. It's a project.
Well, tell them about the project. Tell us.
And I don't know if it fits into what our discussion. Like I was trying to
tell us.
Oh gosh.
So Wadi, you're like the opposite of a comedian.
Yeah.
I don't really want to promote my, I don't know if this is the right time.
Yeah.
Comedians are like, go get it. It's
I
here.
love comedy. So I'm reveling in the fact that I can sit here with, and the thing I love about comedians too is that they're so when they're not on stage, they're just very interesting people just to talk to for regular conversations. So I was trying to be sort of a fly on the wall and as an opportunity, but you're killing that for me. But okay,
because I really want. Do we get a free COVID test if we listen?
Drop that bomb.
It's a 6 month project that I'm a journalist. I'm a news publisher. I have a daily news site called BK Reader. We cover 9 neighborhoods in Central and East Brooklyn. And when COVID first hit, a bunch of grants were being made available to journalists because the news cycle just shot through the roof. But we'd lost all of our revenue sources. All of our advertising just disappeared overnight. And so because of that, a lot of, philanthropic organizations made monies available for us to do COVID-19 specific projects. And I took advantage of that, got a couple of grants, one from National Geographic, another from the Pulitzer Center, and another from American Medical Association to launch the COVID-19 Writers Project, which ended up being a multimedia project that was inspired by the Federal Writers Project. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that. That was during FDR's term. It was something he launched right after World War II. It was part of the Works Progress Administration, a jobs works program. They were trying to get inspire people to go out and capture stories, the creative sector at least, to capture stories and of what was folk stories of what was happening in different remote areas of the country. And they ended up running into a lot of former slaves at the end of their lives. And they ended up kind of focusing their documentation on capturing slave oral narratives. And they are now some of the most important historical documents in the U.S. Library of Congress. So they're a big deal for those in the journalism and history community, like people who have studied those two things. The WPA and the FWP are like a huge, huge deal. So it was inspired by that. And I wanted to create an archive that was similar of what was happening to us during COVID, because I noticed that a lot of the news cycles were focused on emerging news and not people's stories. So I pulled together a team, got these grants, and we started actually grabbing video narratives of what people were going through and how just diverse people's experiences were in COVID. That was what was most astounding to me. There were some people who literally had no savings and suddenly had nothing to eat within a week, nothing to eat. And then there were other people who were caking, like literally making so much money during COVID. So the breadth of people's experiences was so wide. And, there were so many, there were homeless people, there were people who were like former drug addicts, people who were in foster care that we weren't thinking about that were having to deal with the COVID situation. So I set out to make sure that we captured just a huge cross-section of Brooklyn residents and what they were experiencing. We did that over 6 months, and the project wrapped in September. And it's just, I'm doing speeches and going different places and teaching classes and workshops on the project. That's fast forward to where we are today. And so I just mentioned the project to Marina a couple of times, and so she threw me into this conversation. So thank you guys for listening, and I apologize
It's important though, because while we're talking about the differences between celebrities, this is why I bring it up. This is the stories that I would like to hear. I don't want to hear about Chappelle. I'm sorry, having his own comedy show. I want to hear how people, day-to-day people, are getting by. And I think constantly about the person who had nothing. Had I been here 20 years ago and this happened, I'd be in trouble. I sometimes we talk about lack of empathy in, 2019. And then 2020 taught us what lack of empathy can actually really look
like. Yeah. And it's very true.
So I'm wondering, what stories stood out to you?
So we had almost finished the project. We were about 5 months in. We were going to wrap in a month. We'd given ourselves a 6-month timeline. And one of the things that I was most just feeling I felt really bad about the fact that we had not gotten the folks on the margins. I had intended to do that, but it had not come up with a way to approach someone who was homeless or someone who, anyone. We see the guys walking up to us in the middle of the intersection and trying to get money, and we're like trying to drive around them because they literally are walking like zombies asking for money. We're a lot of times ignoring them. And so all of a sudden I wanted them in these archival narratives, but how do you approach somebody like that? Say, hi, I'm doing this project that is funded and I want you to talk to me in the middle of you trying to get money in an intersection. Like, how do you approach someone without being sounding self-serving and being insensitive? So I kept putting it off and putting off, and we had come to almost the end of the project and we didn't have anyone on the margins. And I was like, I know almost certainly that Pulitzer and some of these other funders probably wouldn't care that much that I didn't get those voices, because we got a lot of other voices. I was like, but this is the problem. Those unheard voices often go muted and no one cares and looks at it and even blinks an eye a lot of times. And I just felt it was so totally irresponsible for me not to figure out a way to do that. So I had expressed this to a few friends of mine, how I was tortured about this, that we were about to wrap and I still hadn't gotten anyone that was living on the margins. And one day coming home from the beach, we saw this guy walking in the middle of Atlantic Avenue intersection with a sign that said, "I just got out of jail, am homeless, please help." And he was literally walking almost in front of cars, again, almost about to get hit. And my friend in the back seat said, "Pull over, Zawadi, there's somebody right there." I was like, "I'm not doing that." I was like, we're in the middle of traffic. But I pulled over anyway, walked up to him, and he was so gracious. He said, "Listen, sis, whatever you're about to say, I'm just happy you acknowledged my presence and existence, because people are treating me like I'm an invisible person throughout, this whole process, especially since I've gotten out of jail. So even with the big sign, people seem, to treat me like I'm invisible." He's like, "Anything you want, I'm here. Let me know." He's like, and from what you're describing to me, for my voice to be going into an archive down in history is the greatest thing that I could ever ask for. So yes. And so I was like, we're paying a little bit of money. Ended up having to pay these people on the margins. I had to look at their pain point, which was money, and address that first before they could really speak. And so I ended up having to offer them a little money, and I said, "And you get a referral fee." And I told him that, and by the evening I got back an hour and a half later and checked my messages, and I had like 5 folks that had called me that he referred, saying, "Yeah, I have HIV, and yeah, I'm living in a shelter right now." And I did, like, all these people, like the movie Ghost, came out of the woodwork and were willing to talk to me. And then the next day, like 3 more. So we ended up in a project with these amazing stories of people that just broke my heart. I was so engaged. They were so well-spoken. They were so knowledgeable. I mean, these people we call on the margins that we think are not smart have lived life 3 times over and are usually very intelligent. And a lot of times end up out there because they're so intelligent and kind of, Aspergerish-y. And so, things happen. And so, like, very smart. It was just amazing. They really, to me, rounded off the project and drove it like home. It was
amazing.
like a grand.
There's a whole, like, an organization called Invisible People. You heard of them? And they have like this big YouTube channel. And that's basically what they do. Maybe you could reach out to them, and you could probably get more people that they're used to interacting with and stuff. They connect with people that are homeless and people that are addicted to drugs and stuff, mental illness, people that just basically people that are homeless. I saw like a really interesting one recently, and I mean that YouTube channel gets millions of views. So there is an interest in people knowing about what's going on with people in that part of society, people that are falling through the cracks. There's this one guy I saw, that was a pretty cool story, and he was like Aspergery, exactly like you said, and he just didn't have an extended social network. So when his dad died of cancer, he just fell through. But he used to work for the State Department. He was a State Department diplomat. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's like a government official who fell through the cracks.
Wow.
Right? These people get
like,
benefits, but you know what he slept behind some bush in a parking lot in like Oakland. That's where he ended up. And the next thing you know, he built himself, because he's like from the State Department, he's a contractor, so he actually has skills, right? He built himself like a little hut, and then other homeless people started kind of like coming around and sleep, and so he helped them build a little thing, and then they had a community, and then they started like taking turns patrolling and getting each other food and making sure people that had mental illness got off the street, because they couldn't handle it as well. And then he got permission from the city of Oakland to make that parking lot a sanctuary. So now he's running for mayor.
Wow.
I love it.
Isn't that crazy? So he he kind of like, but he took everybody with him, like he made it kind of like a part of his life to like help all these people in this community that he built, or he helped build. So if Invisible People is like a pretty cool YouTube channel to check out.
Oh, that's so cool. And Marina, like back to what you were saying with the celebrities, again, it's like we get caught up, and even celebrities get caught up themselves. Even, I'm not going to say comedians. I don't know what's inside you guys' heads, but we get caught up in
nothing.
We get caught up in believing that our
pizza,
our center is so important. And it's like being a journalist, I constantly am challenging myself to take myself out of my center and listen to people that I have no clue or idea or information about them. I'm always doing that. And it humbles me every single day to find out that I'm so not the center of the universe, first of all. And there are folks who have far less than me and have accomplished way more. So, when we first went into COVID, when these grants started coming to me, because prior to that, I was, struggling with my business. When these grants all of a sudden started falling in my lap, I would not tell people that I was getting them because I was sensitive to the fact that there's people who are struggling. Like you don't do that. And celebrities, they flaunt what they think they have.
Suck. They suck.
They're
terrible people.
Are we making a blanket statement about all
celebrity? Yes.
Celebrity culture, yeah, for sure.
Yes, celebrity culture definitely sucks.
It's toxic. It's toxic.
I don't believe I don't believe that every single one of them is that insensitive. If you take I think there are a few that take what they have and they put back to people who have less, and they may still be flaunting what they have. But for instance, I remember, first of all, our government is trash and they should be doing a lot of stuff that ends up in the hands of celebrity people. For instance,
they're basically celebrities too. Let's face it.
Smith on Ellen discussing how he brought clean water to Flint. Let's look up LeBron James and he got a laundry list of stuff that he's done. Does that mean I have to be mad that he lives in a mansion? Because I don't.
But I don't think we're talking about that.
It's not about.
We're talking about celebrity culture.
We're not talking about that.
We're not talking about individual deeds, individual people. All of that is great, and people that use their platform for good is great. But these people do not need you to defend them. They don't need you to say like, oh, but they're doing good things. What we're talking about is a toxic culture of celebrity that convinces you that you can be the next great millionaire, you can be the next great celebrity, and then you too can talk about the good charitable works you're doing, instead of providing a system that provides for the masses, which is what we're talking about. And kudos to you, Zawadi, to take it back to what you're doing, to uplift those kinds of voices. I would much rather hear the kinds of people that you're talking about, the kind of people that Melissa's talking about on that site, than to hear about any celebrity doing charitable work. Good on them. That's great. They should be doing those things. But we need to uplift these people that are struggling, and that society is dropping them, especially in COVID. They're falling through the cracks.
Well, I don't disagree with that at all. We absolutely have to uplift the unnamed people that are on the ground doing the work. I 1,000% agree. I just don't think that we have to trash other people to do that.
I'm not saying trashing. I'm not saying people who are philanthropic with wealth are bad. I'm not saying people with wealth are bad. I'm not even saying anything about a system. What I am saying, though, is that it's really important that we get local news back into American culture, because the lack of that is what's making celebrities take it upon themselves to pluck out local, news that they can just use for their own self-promotion, right? So like a local news, like Zawadi's Brooklyn Reader, that's like exactly what we need. That there's been like this decline in investigative journalism and in local journalism over the last 20 years, and it's affected everything culturally, right? It's affected the way we even care about things, because now we only care about big issues that are like so macroeconomic that we barely make a dent in them. But what we can affect is our local communities. And the fact that we don't have a way to fund local news sources to know what's even going on in our local communities means that we pay more attention to celebrity, we pay more attention to federal government issues, and we pay less attention to homeless people who are in our community. We pay less attention to our schools, our local jobs. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just, that's all I think is, that would be a good first step, is kind of my point. That's all.
Melissa, I've missed you for a while. I forgot how smart you are.
I just watch a lot of YouTube videos.
She's like, I'm all right. No.
Hey, Shauna, what you got to say?
I'm listening. All I can think about is like, wow, I've been working on my Nicole Kidman impersonation.
I have seen that. Your Nicole Kid, it is brilliant.
Can I see? I could see that.
Well, I have to put on the wig and makeup.
There's a wig?
And I put this gel on my face so that my face gets frozen.
I mean,
I'm loving hearing all of this. It's amazing. It's inspiring me, and I'm really grateful to be hearing about it.
And I wanted to, I'm upset that Vaughn left again. I hope she's coming back, but I wanted to also share in Vaughn's defense what she was saying. I think I don't want to ever make generalizations about any group of people. I'm very careful about doing that anyway. So I'm not saying all celebrities are bad. And she's absolutely right. It's important that we too support those that are doing good work. People look to celebrities as aspirational, and a lot of times they're looking, especially during these times, are looking at them as something that, they get to do the things that I know that I would never be able to do. So we're trying to kind of like be in their space by default and feel, catch some of the fumes of whatever it is that they're doing or however they do it. So it's not that I want a celebrity bash at all. And I actually think it's great when we see celebrities that are elevated.
I don't mind it.
It's great that when we elevate celebrities that are giving back, because that practice we need to see even as you get older, that it's never you're never too far away from giving back. But the people I know who I've seen in my lifetime who've given the most of those that have the least, and that's the honest God truth. I mean,
well, that's been borne out in studies too, Zawadi, that they, as a percentage of their wealth, the poor give more than do the wealthy across the board. So yeah, I'm very critical of celebrity culture and the bullshit kind of PR behind it, and even like Marina was saying, with intent. If your charitable works is another part of your PR package, then to me it's bullshit and it's transparent. Like that I can see through. And to call it like celebrities as if they're a group, I mean, they're not a group of people. They're just like people that pop up and suddenly we're paying attention to whoever and they come and go. But like when charity becomes like another part of, because it's good PR, like Tom Cruise broke up a fight or whatever, Ryan Gosling did this or that, like these things that, why do I even need to know like that he broke up a fight, or it's so insidious, this celebration of celebrities. And I'm not picking out one person, like they're all individuals, who cares? But this propping up incessantly of celebrity culture, I think, is to the detriment of society as a whole and to what we're focusing on.
Right. Yeah. I mean, the stories that Zawadi was just saying is just things I'm more interested in myself personally right now. During this time, it just seems to be I'm guilty of it too. I'm not a celebrity, but I know that for a moment, my videos about staying at home seem like a sort of self-indulged PSA without realizing there were kids who were at home who needed to not be at home. It was just, my realization was like, oh, Marina, even you have your own type of like privilege that you don't even realize. Like you can't put this out there without really understanding what's going on. And for me right now, I'm having it's having its effect where I'm seeing like, okay, there's stuff you need to do. Like, Vaughn knows, like I went out to go drop off cookies. I was supposed to make the cookies, but that didn't work out. I had to go get store-bought because even the homeless would be like, bitch, these cookies ain't good. You could have got these from Rite Aid.
And
but they will. I was trying to make vegan cookies, but I tried. It's like just a little bit of trying to not. I don't know. It's gotten weird where it's like I don't want to make it about me, and that's just me. That's
kind of the same reason why I kind of bowed out. I was like focusing on other things that I kind of needed to.
I did the same thing. I had the same feelings. I think a lot of us did. And like, okay, well, what am I doing? For instance, I'm big into basketball. I literally built my social media following off of just trash talking in basketball, right? So I have my Coach Juan podcast. I have my radio show on the NBA channel, the whole
There's
nine.
someone. Wait, hold on, Vaughn. There's a sound in the background. Do you guys hear that? Or is it just
Someone's doing dishes.
Look at Melissa.
Look at Melissa. I know that's Melissa.
She looks like a little kid. Like,
Melissa, you can always mute it. He can keep doing what. I mean, at least you have a man. That's exciting.
Yeah, that has helped.
But
That has helped.
But just so you know, when Vaughn, can you repeat that? So, okay, go ahead. I just want to get clean, Vaughn.
No problem. So I feel like we all went through that at some point of what am I doing during this pandemic? There are people suffering worse than me. There's people that are more hungry. There are people that are homeless. There are literally George Floyd's family had to watch him be murdered on television in broad daylight. And we felt something. Imagine what they felt. So we all went through those thoughts. So like I was saying, my podcast, I'm a sports person. I built my social media off of, talking about basketball, et cetera, et cetera. I have Coach Juan podcast, right? So pandemic happens and the NBA does the bubble and the whole nine. And I could not bring myself to give a damn about a basketball falling into a hoop. I ended up rebranding my entire podcast. I renamed it Friend in Your Head because I felt like what I was doing with my podcast before, I was taking things in the sports world, anchoring it into like real life talk. Because of the pandemic and everything going on, I'm like I was forcing myself, like, I don't care about basketball right now. I'm going to just cut the sports talk out, go right into the life stuff. And at first I was like, what is this going to do with my podcast? I kind of built myself around this Coach Vaughn thing and in terms of the podcast and radio. And what I found is the rebranding of that, people appreciated it. But there were also people that were like, well, I enjoyed watching basketball during that time because it was a distraction. So I feel like glass half full mentality, everybody's making different decisions. There was a point where I was like, I shouldn't be doing my podcast. Why am I trying to release an album? But then I had to realize that there are people that you, Marina, with your comedy, this podcast, Ted, your album, we all have a place in people that may be looking to us like, no, don't stop because I'm listening. I need someone to listen to. I need something to laugh at. For some people, it was like, I'm so happy they got this NBA bubble. For me, who is a true NBA fan, I couldn't tell you what's going on in the NBA right now. So I think we all went through that at some point, Marina, but I encourage you guys or anybody that's listening, you can't feel guilty about moving forward and trying to figure out what your place is in this new normal and contribute where you can contribute.
Well, Vaughn, you taught me something too. And this goes into the next article about isolation. We were talking about how on Thanksgiving, it was kind of tough this year. I don't know what you guys are doing for Christmas. If you have plans to go see family, but I remember over Thanksgiving, I was sad for like a second. Zawadi knows I was like, what do I do? Do I go to Zawadi's house? And then I decided, well, I'm just going to stay home and be a good, soldier and not spread my can And I thought I was the only one who was like doing that. And then I talked to Vaughn and she had a moment and she was like, can I say, Vaughn?
Yeah.
Okay. The whole day you were crying pretty much. And I thought I was the only, I mean, I wasn't like that, but I realized I hadn't reached out to you or I hadn't reached out to someone else. You could just sit in your own space thinking, it's just you, and then you realize, what are you doing to reach out to other people? And since then, like, Vaughn and I go for walks. I walk Vaughn, basically. I know I tell Keith Robinson, I got to go walk Vaughn. I got to go walk her. I got to go walk Vaughn.
Marina forces me to stare at this owl that won't go away. It was fascinating at first, but I'm like, this owl is such a thought. Go do something for our community.
Can you tell them what you wear, or you're not going to share that?
Oh, no, I have no problem with it. But first, just say that we did, as far as the Thanksgiving thing, we didn't talk until like the next day or the day after next. And Thanksgiving was very hard for me because it just pulled together. Like, I went through a lot of personal loss during the pandemic. As I'm out here trying to work and create and rebrand and do all these things, I'm also going through a lot of personal situations and a personal loss and being isolated and alone and all of these things. And Thanksgiving being that favorite holiday for me, besides the racial stuff that we ain't gonna get into, but the family aspect of Thanksgiving is always that one time a year where I feel like, okay, that you get to come together with people who love you, and just feeling isolated, devalued, not loved, all these things. Like, my phone isn't even going to ring. Like, what? And I literally uncontrollably walked around this tiny little apartment from about 1:00 in the afternoon until about 10:00 at night. My head was hurting so bad. I literally just cried all day, and I couldn't even stop myself. I didn't know what to do. I didn't want to call somebody and like ruin their day. I was so lost in that day and that moment. And then me and Marina ended up speaking the day after, and then I learned what she was going through, and we both laughed. Like, we could have literally just spent the day over FaceTime or something. And we do walk together. She does not walk me. I am not your pet.
You did pee during our walk, though, Vaughn. Tell the truth.
Tell the story. I just have to go back to that. So, all right. So I have this thing, right?
It's your outfit that we're going to get to hear about.
My outfit?
I thought that's what we were talking about. What you wear? No?
It's a special outfit.
Let me get to it. So
get to it fast, Vaughn.
I'm giggling. So give me a minute.
You just have to say one word, and you know that word.
Because of COVID, I am not comfortable using public bathrooms. I wasn't comfortable with that before. And, I had a bit about it that I was working on, but then it literally became real life that, if I'm out and I'm not going to be back to my house to use the bathroom, I wear Depends.
Oh, that outfit. Okay. Oh.
Vaughn looked at me.
Was walking. She was talking.
You looked at me and you're like,
I just used them.
No, you said you were using. You're like, I'm using it right now. You're like, and it's warm.
It's so I love getting into comedian. Like, this is might be the craziest thing I hear today. Thank you.
I don't. Do they work?
I hope so.
I have such trust issues.
I was afraid.
Oh my god.
They work. They work. It gets nowhere. It goes into the little thing, the pamper, if you adult pamper. And no, I am not afraid at all. Okay. It's silly, but it's practical. I can't be. I cannot be holding it in. That hurts. And we walk, me and Marina walk, it's a 2-3 hour walk. We go way down.
It's not 2 or 3 hours.
Marina, I got that home after 3.
All I know is Keith Robinson, who,
that's it.
Keith Robinson, who is, currently he is in the hospital, but he
I didn't know that.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he is, but he'll be fine. He had a minor setback, but he's getting better. But this story, I haven't heard Keith laugh. And he's like,
about my Depends.
Oh yeah. Oh, I had to. And I haven't heard him laugh. And I'm like, in a way, I guess to make it full circle, people do need comedy to feel good.
Yeah. Vaughn, that
Thank
was
you.
a fantastic story. Thank you. This was all worth it just because of that. And you need to put that into an act. That is so, and it's so real. It's so real. It would be great. It would be a hit.
So,
well, you know what?
That's COVID realness. That's COVID realness right there.
so if I could just read this article real fast, just so I don't isolate yourself this holiday season. Melissa, are you getting kicked out? What's happening?
No. Why? What's going on?
I see her.
Oh,
Every time you come back, it's like the screen changes.
Really?
Are you getting kicked out?
I don't think so.
It's okay if you're not. I just this platform is all an experiment. So just let me know if you don't have to lie or anything. I'm not going to yell at you.
I wouldn't lie about that.
So it says, don't isolate yourself this holiday season. According to a 2015 Healthline survey, which is why is it in 2015? More than 18% of people say they were very stressed during the holidays, and another nearly 44% say they are somewhat stressed. Though there hasn't been a similar study this year, one can assume that a similar number, if not more, people are feeling stressed, sad, lonely during the holiday. For those people, journalist Arthur C. Brooks recommends being honest about your feelings and not isolating yourself. Brooks also suggests that this holiday season can be happier if people focus on the true meaning of the holiday season, creates holiday rituals that are meaningful to you, and use technology creatively to be with family and friends. Remember that you don't have to reconfigure yourself to fit the occasion. Rather, you need to reconfigure the occasion to fit yourself. Follow the steps above to make holidays that are meaningful, fun, and filled with happiness. So I'm going to go to you, Shauna.
Okay.
What are you? I know you got. I know your volume is kind of low, but it's okay. What are you doing to fit the occasion or fit yourself? Or
Staying
reconfigure
away from my family, and it feels really good.
Oh, this is the first time, right?
This is literally the first time in my entire life that I think I haven't. I have a huge family, and I mean, I don't.
You don't like them?
Oh, I love my family. No, I love them. They're great. It's just a lot of people. And I always say when I was growing up, it wasn't whether or not someone was going to walk in on you in the bathroom. It's how many times someone was going to walk in on you in the bathroom. It was just, I had a big family, and now everyone had more kids, and, it's just a lot of people. And I love them, but it's a lot, it's stressful. And so this year, I was like, okay, we're going to just stay here. And that's, the best. It's the healthiest thing for everyone, but mostly me. So, now
good.
you guys think I'm a terrible person.
No way.
I love.
No, that sounds right.
Awful. Appreciate
You are the worst.
No way.
Well, are you doing anything ritual wise though? Are you?
We put up a tree and we decorated, and we'll definitely do some sort of like Zoom, thing where we'll see everybody. We're all doing presents and stuff like that. I feel like a bad person right now, but I'm not. Why isn't anyone saying anything?
No, we're listening. We actually listen on this podcast. Yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I just, what I also, I'm someone who I had a compromised immune system at one point. So really, I am being cautious, and my mother's 83. So I really, I am taking care of myself. But I am also taking this opportunity to be like, okay, I can definitely take a break, and it's okay. Yeah.
Okay. What about you, Ted?
Well, yeah, I mean, I have a big family as well. I'm one of 5, and everyone's kind of in the New York tri-state area. But due to COVID and my wife being pregnant, we're also, like Shauna, taking every precaution. So we canceled Thanksgiving plans, and my wife had a couple of siblings that were intending to come to our new house for Christmas with their kids and families and stuff, but we postponed that as well. One of her siblings tested positive for COVID recently, so that also factored in. He's recovering and all that stuff, but so just the more you think about it, like Shauna said, it just feels like you can sacrifice one holiday season where it feels like, the smartest thing to do, especially with my wife being pregnant, is don't take any risks. Don't put yourself in harm's way. Don't put anyone else in harm's way, even though it can be depressing. It can be isolating. But I liked what you said, Marina, about like figuring out new traditions, or try to, we're creative people, like try to be creative about, well, how can we bring joy for ourselves, for others? Because it's challenging.
Yeah, I found just walking with Vaughn has made a huge difference in just my mental. I mean, Keith, actually, Vaughn, you don't know this, but he said to me, it's hard for him to talk right now, but he said this. He goes, you need it too.
Oh.
And that was true.
Vaughn,
I thought I was.
At least that's what you think he said.
Vaughn, are you wearing Depends right now?
Oh, she's absolutely peeing right now.
Well, when I stepped away, I had to step away because I had to go to the bathroom. So when I was using the bathroom, I was like, damn, I should have wore Depends.
You could have stayed.
Well, Vaughn, what are you?
I use them just for outside, but next time I do the podcast with Marina, I'm going to have them on. I'm going to let you know when I'm going.
What are you going to do on Christmas, Vaughn?
The exact same thing I did on Thanksgiving. I'm going to walk around my apartment and cry.
You better not.
Can you film the whole
No, Marina,
thing?
we should get together at least.
Yeah, live stream it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Live stream Vaughn peeing?
No, crying.
No, crying.
And peeing and crying at the same time.
Yeah.
Just
Peeing.
liquid
You can put
coming out.
little Depends.
Yeah.
Little Depends under your eyes to catch the tears.
Yeah.
That's cute.
All of your liquids will be absorbed.
And now that I know Marina refers to me as her pet and she walks me like on a dog leash, I have to break up with her. I'm a person, Marina.
I know, but it's just so much fun to say I got to go walk Vaughn.
No, you.
I love you, Vaughn. You know I love you.
It's just you and that owl now.
Well, that owl, yeah. That's our thing now. It used to be stand up. Now it's like, where's the owl?
I'm so at first it was like, oh, there's an owl, and now I'm like,
An owl?
is it-
An owl?
is it
There's an
cool?
owl on the what was it, riverbank?
You want
Side part.
me to freak you out right now? There's an owl.
Oh my God, it's that owl. That's exactly where.
Remember, you asked Marina what is the owl going to do when a snowstorm hits? Now we know. He's at Melissa's house.
Melissa, what are you doing for Christmas? Are you changing or anything? Are you doing?
I mean, I spend Christmas with my mom, and this Christmas she wants to throw a party, so I'm going to spend Christmas convincing her not to throw a party. So that's kind of it.
Wow. Yeah, you got to talk to her.
I try. I got to chase her around with a mask. She's like, she wears it into stores, but she's very skeptical about the whole. It's just like, okay, just shut up and put the. It's like,
oh boy. I don't understand the what's funny is, well, not funny, but it could be a bit. I dream. This morning I had one of those dreams where I'm in the dream. I don't have my mask on. I was on a bus in my dream. Why I was on a bus, I don't know, but I don't like buses. But I was on a bus in my dream, and I realized I didn't have a mask on in my dream, and I was like, "Oh no!" And it was a nightmare. It became a nightmare.
damn. Anxiety dreams really have gone down in quality, huh?
Well, yeah, but it's just
before
so...
it used to be like demons coming at you, right? You're like, what?
I don't have on a mask. I mean, yeah, it's just it's that deep though for me. Like in my dream, if I'm not wearing a mask, I'm a.
And you know what, Ted? Like, err on the side of caution. Like, if we find out in a year or 2 or 10 years, whenever in life, that this was, like, say hypothetically, I don't think it's a hoax, but hypothetically, let's say this is all BS, right? And we find out later, I'm still going to be okay that I erred on the side of caution. I wore a mask. I did everything I could do to save myself and the people around me. What is the problem with that? That I don't understand why people would fight against just being cautious.
Yeah. Zawadi, what are you doing? What are you going to do this Christmas?
I don't know. I really don't know what I'm going to do. I don't care. Actually, I don't know.
Okay.
I'll make it up like probably a day or two before. Like, we had my pod. I have 5 people in my pod, and I had 3 of the 5 in my pod come over, and with my husband, he had one of his friends come over. So it was 5 of us, and we had a great time. And I don't know, maybe I'll do that again.
And thanks for inviting me. I just didn't. I was like, I feel like a germ going to your, because part of what it was is I was hanging.
Is Marina in the pod officially, or she's pod adjacent?
No, Marina is. I don't even know if Marina's pod adjacent because I haven't actually seen or been around Marina in at least a year. So, Marina, I'm glad you excused yourself out the room because my other people in my pod would have been like, "Who is she? And where'd she come from?" No, but it was good. See, we were going to take a trip upstate before all this COVID stuff started happening again. We were going upstate to a cabin. Like it was going to be like 6 or 7 of us, and we were going to go hiking and do all this stuff for Thanksgiving. And then that fell apart when COVID started descending upon us. Then I reduced it down to my house, and then Marina backed out. And she was like, "Nah, I'm gonna be safe," which is cool. I get it.
Who has a phone?
That's my bell. There's FedEx is at the.
Oh, that's your. Oh, wow. That's your doorbell.
It was Melissa again. I'm like,
that's the special pod line.
I will say this for Christmas. I am actually going to do something because of this. One, this article is right on time because I just chose not to isolate because it's also my birthday. Christmas Day is already depressing because it's my birthday, because everyone forgets it's my birthday. And they also forget that I'm Jesus, which is an old joke, but still.
I know what's getting you. I am getting you a nice big box of Depends. It's not even. Text me the address again, so I'm sending them to your house. It has to get there by Christmas.
I did almost pee on myself on one of our walks, so she does know that.
That's when I revealed my little secret to her. I'm like, "Look, Marina, you don't have to suffer. By the time you get home, it's like 20, 30 minutes. You're going to it's going to hurt." And then I revealed my secret, and now all giggles. But I know people are going to, you too, Marina. I know people are going to do it. They're just not going to admit it. You probably have Depends already.
I've never, ever bought Depends, Vaughn. I've never.
You're getting them for Christmas.
When you buy them,
but you know what? No, Marina, you know what? They've come up with, there's like a new fiber technology in those diapers. Like they've done it.
No, dude.
Yeah, I'm telling you what it is.
No.
Dad, I'm sorry you have to hear this. But the pads now are like paper thin and they can hold like so much liquid. I'm sorry, Ted. And so now I can just imagine that the like regular panties now, like, the technology, you can actually wear them and not feel them at all or see them.
Well, I have a question, actually.
Okay.
I
I do too, but you go ahead.
Please, Shauna, go ahead.
When you buy them in the store, are you them for like your granddad where you're like, "Oh, these are not for me. I'm just like picking up like."
First of all,
Depends.
I don't go into stores. My level of paranoia is at the height where I wear Depends. What makes you think I'm walking into a store? Everything's being delivered.
What about a Go Girl? What's a Go Girl? It's like a fake penis plastic thing. You just put it against and then you just go like a dude. I would rather do that. Or pop a squat, honestly. I've popped hundreds of thousands of successful squats in my lifetime, okay? Because I'm also uncomfortable sometimes with public bathrooms. It's called being drunk. So I would do that. But I can't imagine having a Depends, even if it can absorb all that liquid, that's worse because now you have like this canoe between your legs, that's how I feel like it would feel like.
I don't have a problem with my bladder. So it's for emergencies. Like, okay, I have it on just in case I'm nowhere near getting to a safe bathroom, and I'm not going to this public bathroom. So I'm not just using the bathroom, randomly. You know what I'm last report. And I'm for the thing. I would totally screw that up.
Well, this platform.
I'm hearing an echo.
Yeah, I'm hearing an echo.
Ted, what was your question?
Well, wait, hold on 1 second. I just want to make sure this, because now all of a sudden I'm hearing an echo. I will never, Evelyn, we will never use Riverside ever again. And
No echo now.
and this
After
is
this,
the
you need to
commercial.
tell them. After this, you need to tell them what's what.
I'm going to ask them for my money back. I'm
You
absolutely
should.
for $39. This is
No.
not at all.
No.
They can kiss my black ass. They're Dutch. They're from, and I'm going to tell them in Dutch to kiss my black ass. So
You
Evelyn,
have to kiss my black Depends wearing ass.
no, that's you. I'm not depend. So Evelyn, what are?
Oh, can I ask my question?
Yes.
Yeah, I want to hear this.
So I'm hearing a lot of talk about liquid. on my last special cut up, I have a story that I tell on that album about shitting my pants. As a matter of fact, it was literally my first day arriving home with my new bride, arriving home as a married man, entering the home. My first act as a married man was to shit my pants.
Oh.
So my question, as a prospective Depends buyer / wearer, are liquids amply covered, or is I'm sorry, solids, or is this strictly a liquid?
For my personal use, it is a number one.
It better be a number one.
That makes sense.
I would do a number two.
Wait, you
So
shit your pants at home?
I shit my pants like as I made it in the door. It was one of those like we lived on the 4th floor, and at each floor was like progressively more of a struggle. And as I think there's that release as you get to the door, and it kind of like coincided with me opening the door. I shit my pants in the apartment. Yeah, my wife was still downstairs, and I texted her that I shit my pants.
For better
Like,
or
you're
for
already
worse.
That's right.
Yeah.
I would imagine if you did have a Depends for men on, that it would have caught it on the way up the stairs, and then you wouldn't have messed up clothing. But I don't think it's something that you just, even like with the number one with the urine, I'm not just willy-nilly doing it unless I'm around Marina. I'm just gonna go. But it's just for my, it's just really for emergency. So in that emergency case, you would have just had less to clean up.
Yeah, and I understand. Like for peeing, it's more of a plan because of you're avoiding public bathrooms. You're going for a long walk. That's more of it's built into the plan of the walk. Like me, I was shitting your pants is never part of the plan.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Can I ask Evelyn? What are you doing? This is my lovely assistant, Evelyn. Everyone.
Hello.
Who's been
Evelyn.
emailing you, and she's been trying to figure out this Zoom and all this stuff. Well, this not Zoom with me, and so thank you, Evelyn. But what are you doing? Like, tell them your story about leaving. You left New York.
Yeah. So I I have an apartment in Brooklyn, but I actually left in March just because things were getting kind of bad, and also my parents were a little bit nervous. So yeah, I left, and then I came back in like the summer when things were getting better, but then left again actually in November. My parents live in Pennsylvania, and I'm still a Pennsylvania voter, and I had issues with my absentee ballot. Yeah, so I went back home around election day and just have been here ever since. It's been hard to be in between. I definitely miss all my friends in New York, but it's, being with my parents and actually having like a house, it's like, like Ted saying, having space, it's really necessary right now. But yeah, for the holidays, I mean, my family is actually interfaith. My dad is Christian and my mom is Jewish, and my sister and I are Jewish. So we just finished celebrating Hanukkah the last few nights, which, actually Hanukkah, it's not that important of a Jewish holiday, but with the pandemic, I mean, it's all about kind of self-reflection and being in the darkness and, lighting these candles. So it has been really reflective. And, the holiday is also about, the miracle of light. So it's a very hopeful holiday, which is, really necessary right now. But for us, for Christmas Day, actually, I'm not entirely sure what my family will be doing. We don't really decorate. We don't really get a tree, but for us, it's always just kind of been about being around each other. So, while I did leave Brooklyn, I am so glad that at the moment I can be, in my like pod with my family and just be, enjoying their presence and, all that. So yeah, that's what I've been doing. And it's been very nice.
That's great. That's so important what you said about being reflective, because I think that is the thing that I was focusing on with my smaller group of people that I'm going to do my birthday with, because I knew I couldn't just go with people I haven't hung out with. So the person that I'm going with, I've been with from the beginning of this. She gets tested weekly for the virus because she works with the senior citizens.
Oh, sure.
So she has to be good. So and then we're going to Airbnb that wants your test 72 hours, but reflective. If there was anyone I would want to be with, it's her, because she's also a breast cancer survivor.
Yeah.
And both of us have gone through so much together. It would be nice to just on that day be with her. And it's such a good point about what the holidays really are.
Yeah, absolutely.
I feel so triggered. You're not bringing your pet, Vaughn.
I can ask if there's room, if there's a dog seat?
No. I don't want to go. I just had to invite myself. Now I'm going to go cry in a corner.
I will. Oh, fine. I love you. I think, where do they usually put the pets? Above the car?
Under the seat.
No.
Under the seat.
Oh, under the seat in a carrier.
Yes. And you have to buy them a ticket.
Oh,
wow.
I'm not flying. We're not gonna fly.
You still have to buy them a ticket. I'm just kidding.
Oh, there was a question I had and it's gone. It was so good too.
I remember it, but I'm not helping you.
Oh God, this is my age. This is what's happening because I am about to be a certain age.
About to be of a certain age. Did you see that Regina Hall video?
No.
Yes, it was. I was with her.
I was too.
What'd she say? What? Well,
she just turned 50.
Wait.
So
what?
Huh?
Go ahead.
She just turned 50 and she made this little song she did on social media about turning 50. How she's halfway through her life and she's like, I just made 50, but I heard that I still had good pussy. She was it's so funny.
Oh, I'm not turning 50.
I didn't say that.
I'm joking. It's coming.
No, it's funny. You should. It inspires you because she looks damn good. She looks better than most 30-year-olds I know today. So
Regina Hall,
wonder if she wears
right?
Depends.
Regina,
yeah,
that's the one they used to say I look like her. They used to put no one agrees. Okay,
you're prettier. You're better.
People used to always say that. They used to say you did. They used to say you look like Nia Long, and they used to say I look like Regina.
Regina Hall.
Yeah. That's what C.Zawadi and I used to get all the time. Okay, so there's this other article. Now this is more topical.
Hey, Marina, I hate to be
you have to go.
A pain, but I have to leave in about 5 minutes because I'm taking over for my wife with our son, and I'm sure she's going nuts.
You're such a good man. Well, this is a good place actually to get out because it is over an hour and a half. So thank you, Ted, for giving me that because I need to wrap up.
Sure.
I need to wrap up for me, and I want to post this, figure it out, and then get my money back. So
right.
I want to thank you all. I think it's really important that we do this. We reach out to family, friends during this time. That's why I'm trying to work to do these live streams because I know there's so many listeners out there who would like to see the regulars of the podcast live. It is good to put content out there, good content that reflects back, I think, into their lives. So, Ted, before you go, can you tell us where our listeners can find you and friends like us.
Sure. First of all, thank you, Marina, and thanks everybody. This was so fun to connect and to get a little bit of holiday connection and to see some friends and make some new ones. People can see me at Ted Alexandro on social media, and I have the Ted Alexandro show every Thursday. That's on YouTube, and I have 4 specials on YouTube. The most recent is Cut Up, so people can check those out.
Nice.
Good
Shauna?
to see you, Ted. Oh.
Good to see you.
You can go to my website, shaunalane.com, and Lane Shauna on Instagram if you want to see my Nicole Kidman impersonation.
It's very good.
Thanks. You could also just come to my house and we could talk. I live in Westchester. If you want to stand outside, I have a screen door. Yeah.
And with friends like us?
And with friends like us, we can make it through the holidays.
Yay.
And the rest of 2020.
Yay.
Yay.
Melissa? Melissa, can you hear me?
It's on mute.
Can you tell
Unmute.
us, unmute yourself and tell us where our listeners can find you? I unmuted you.
Oh, you did? Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
That's a little, all right.
Invasive. I was like, I'm gonna unmute your ass.
Marina's aggressive.
That's good. It's good that you have like the God button
I do.
thing. Yeah, yeah. And since you are Jesus, I guess it's only fitting. Yeah, you can find me. I mean, I'm like around. I am making like I'm working on a web series, but for now I'm just kind of experimenting with combining like animation with live action clips. So if you want to like check some of those out, and I repost a lot of like interesting animation techniques and artists on my Instagram, and that's Melissa Diaz for you. And I post it also on TikTok. And if you want to listen to a podcast that I'm on, that I do, it's Melissa Time, and you can find that on all the 1s and 2s and 3s and 4s.
And with friends like us?
With friends like us. Damn, I had a good one. I just forgot it. With friends like us, you will never run out of content to keep the anxiety dream demons at bay.
Oh, I love it.
Nice.
Do you want me to mute you now, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was great, Melissa. You're on mute.
And Marina, can I throw in my friends like us? I didn't get to.
Oh, I thought you did. I'm sorry.
I don't think I articulated that.
Oh.
With friends like us, whether you wear Depends or not, you are in the pod.
Mine.
Nice.
I love
That was good.
Sorry, Zawadi.
Oh, okay. So, Zawadi?
So you can find, well, first of all, please follow BK Reader at bkreader.com and sign up for our newsletter, 7 a.m. Also, to check out the COVID-19 Writers Project, you can go to the PulitzerCenter.org and or my sister website. We have a sister nonprofit website called Scribe, SCRIIBE.org, and check out the project there. And to check me, please follow me on Instagram at C.Zawadi Morris. Just put in Zawadi, Zawadi, and it should pop up. You'll see C.Zawadi Morris. And with friends like us, you can pee in your pants and nobody will judge.
I'm doing it right now. Even it feels good.
Just pee though? Just pee?
Yeah. I'll work up to the other one.
All right, fine. I feel a little judged, but it's okay.
Vaughn?
First of all, let me say I am so happy that I inspired you all to live in your.
Yes.
You can find me at funnyvon.com. Links to all my social media at Von Decarlo is right on the website. Please do get my, it's my debut comedy album. a draggable offense. It's right there. Just was released December 11th, so I guess that was like last Friday. Please support that and listen to my podcast, all that, but mostly support the album. That's my new baby. funnyvon.com. And with friends like us, who needs to depend on celebrity?
Ah!
Boom.
That one gets an applause by me. Yes, yes.
Good one.
Marina Franklin here. You could go to my website, marinafranklin.com, and follow all things Friends Like Us. Thanks to Evelyn, who's helped me out a great deal this year. I could not have done it without you, Evelyn. You know that.
Thank you. Yeah. And I'm grateful to be a part of this.
Yeah. And it's a blessing really to have you. And I wish you all the luck, and I can't wait to see your success. And with Friends Like Us, you cannot do it alone. It takes a bunch of friends to do it together.